Hey everyone, welcome to class. Hopefully you'll get some insight on this topic. Today we're focusing on Idaho and exportation. So first, before we dive too far into our lesson, I want you to look around the room you're in. I want you to think about the things that are in it, and do you think that any of them were sent from other countries? Or do you think that they are all made right here in Idaho or the United States? So look around, see any products that might be from somewhere else, and just keep a mental note of those because you'll need it later. Today, we are learning how to define economy in very simple terms, to define exports and imports, to learn the importance of exports, and to see how Idaho impacts different countries with exportation. So first, right off the bat, we're going to decide on what the definition of economy is. We're looking for a very simple definition right now. I want you to think about this. What do you think is the economy? And I promise it's not just some big scary word that the news and parents like to say and throw around. My simple definition of the economy is that it is the wealth and resources of a community in the terms of production and consumption of products or services. It's basically how a place manages the resources that it has, which is like products, consumer goods, or services like music or entertainment, or whatever you could imagine. It's how you produce something, or you sell it, or you trade it with other countries. So what is an export and an import? These two are very important, and the reason we define economy is because it is made of exports and imports. So both are goods that are traded between countries. They could be, examples are like your phones, technology, food is a one that's traded around and bought a lot, and clothing comes from all over. So the difference between an export and an import is that exports are things that you make in your own country and then you send to other people. You export them out and send them to others who need that. And an import are things that you don't have, so another country makes them and sends them to you. You bring them into your country, so it's called an import. But what is the importance of these exports and imports? Why do we need them? Well, it helps us share resources. There is not one country that can produce everything it needs for everyone that lives in it. Even if it could, other countries would look at them and see, well, I want some of the stuff that you have, and they would still try to buy and sell, so there would still be exportation and importation. It helps to increase diversity. If you look around you, there are so many different products and foods even that come from different parts of the world, and it helps you kind of get a taste of other things if you're not traveling or being able to see those. And it helps a place earn money, because if you have something that is so valuable that everyone else wants it, they will pay you to take it, and so it helps earn money to be able to run your country. And it also helps keep the cost down. So how do we know if something is an export? Usually they have these labels that you can find on just about everything. And they can say made in Canada, made in Ireland, some are made in Mexico. A lot of our fruits and vegetables, if you look at them, there's a commercial right now that says avocados from Mexico, because yeah, different places have different things and climates. And anyways, send them to us. The biggest one you see a lot is made in China, and that can be on just about everything. So our activity is, before you looked around and just kind of thought about, maybe something came from another country. Well, now I want you to look and see if you can find a specific label that says made in, and I want you to keep track of what you find in the country and then put it in the comments later so that we can see what kinds of things and where they came from. So I'll give you a little bit of time to do this. I'll give you a hint. One that's really easy to find is on clothing. Most all of those say what country they were made in, and that's really easy to find quickly. And of course, there's lots of other things, though. So be creative. I'll give you a little bit more time, and if you need some more, you can pause the video for a little bit. Okay, we're going to move on. So now that we've thought about the other countries and why they bring stuff to us or we send stuff to them, now we're going to think about specifically Idaho. Does Idaho have any exports? Are we, do we produce something and send it to others? So I want you to think about what are some ideas that they might be. What kinds of things do you think Idaho makes and sends to other places? Trust me, there are more than just potatoes that we have to offer. So think of a list, maybe 3 to 5 things about maybe what does Idaho export. And also while you're thinking of that, where do you think we send them to? Do you think we just send them to some states around us? Do we send them globally around the world? Okay, now that you've had some time to think, we'll go into it a little bit. So some very popular exports from Idaho are technology, surprisingly. They make up 50% of our exports. Then next is agriculture. It makes up 21% of our exports. Mining makes up 9%. Fertilizers and chemicals make up about 5%. Transportation equipment, which would be like parts for cars or trains, anything like that, could be about 4%. Wood and paper make up about 4% of our exports, and then other random things make up about 7%. So technology was the one that was really surprising to me. I guess we do have Micron and things that make computers and programs, but I always think that technology comes from China, but it's actually a big export by Idaho. So that was interesting. Did any of these on the list, were they some that you had thought of? If they were, you should let me know. I'm interested to see what some of your guesses were. So now that we know what the exports are, we're going to look at this map and think about where do they go? And so we're going to do this activity. Now, if we were in class, my main goal would be to have stickers and have you guys come up and place them so that you get a hands-on kind of view of where things are going. But since we can't do that and we're online, I'm going to take the marker and try to put where things go. Hopefully you can see these. I know the words are really small on this map, so just bear with me. So we're going to go over the list of what our exports were. And I'm going to put where they are, and I want you to think about, did you think that Idaho made such an impact in sending things to these places? So technology, to mark this, we are going, to use the pen, and we're going to use blue. Blue represents technology. So from little old Idaho, about right here, our technology is sent to Mexico. Let's see if we can see that. China, all the way over here, and to Taiwan, which is right here. Just block out that little island with my blue dot. Okay, next we're going to do agriculture, which is where potatoes would fall under, but I'm sure we have some more things that we send places. And our agriculture is sent to Canada, Mexico, China again. Let's see if our green shows up on that green. I hope you can see that. And also the Netherlands, which is very tiny, but it's right in here somewhere. Just do approximation. Next is our mining. We're going to use yellow for that because, you know, mining, gold. Anyways. Our mining is sent to Canada and Norway. We're here. Then our fertilizers, we're going to use red, are sent to Canada. Ooh, that dot got a little crazy. Transportation equipment, we're going to use purple, and those are sent to Canada, Singapore this time, which is right around here, and Australia. And lastly, our wood and paper, we're going to use black for because they don't let me use brown, is going to be to Canada, Mexico, and China. So by looking at these different dots, you can see that from just Idaho, we send things all around the world. So before, when you were thinking about where the exports went, were you thinking that big? Were you thinking globally, or were you just thinking the States and the United States? Really quick, I just want to draw a couple lines. They're going to be pretty rough, but just to embrace this. So from Idaho, we send things over to Norway, and we send things all the way to China, and we send them to Australia, and Mexico, and Canada. Look how far these lines go. How big of an impact Idaho has on the rest of the world. It's just crazy. I mean, for some of these, Australia, they might go the other way, or China, around when they're shipping, is what I mean. But from this, that's like 10,000-mile difference. It's just impressive to think about what we make is sent all around the world. So that is what I hope you got from this lesson, is what kind of things that Idaho has an impact on, and everything else. So that's it for today's lesson. So I want you to recap everything for your little homework assignment. I want you to put in the comments what imports you found around you in your own room and the origin on the label that you looked for. And then I want you to do the short, the information sheet that I have up there, the recall on the questions, and either do it on the computer and upload it as a document or RTF file, or take a picture and post it in the comments. And I'm excited to see everything that you guys do, and let me know what you got out of it, if it helped at all, or if it was a little shaky. But anyways, thank you guys for all your hard work, and I'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.